Hi, I'm Amy Shark and I'm going back to school with Student Edge.
Tell us, what were you like as a teenager?
Oh, teenager. I definitely went through some pretty crappy years. I think I was a pretty good kid in general, but you know, I think everyone, I mean maybe not everyone, but I definitely had a stage where I was hanging around probably the wrong people, like a lot of us tend to do, which is always by accident. So yeah, I had a great high school experience. Like I always had amazing friends around me and heaps of friends, and you know, it was just, there was so many experiences, like, and so many memories. Like, I have friends now that are like, I hated school, I hated that time of my life. I just I don't want to talk about it. Whereas as much as there was so many things to digest that happened when I was a teenager, and a young teenager, like with, you know, my parents, and, you know, like my parents were already divorced, but, you know, there were so many other things that probably won't dive into, but I still look back on it and think it was the best years ever. Like, I don't know why, but it's just, you know, yeah, I had a really great, I had a really great sort of teenage life.
Well, that's great to hear that you still kind of look back on it fondly, even though,
Yeah.
I mean, as with everyone, like, teenage years can be pretty tumultuous. When did you get into music, for instance? You know, was that something that you discovered at a fairly young age?
Yeah, definitely. I had a pretty awesome library to work from home. Like, my parents were into some pretty cool music, like The Police, and my dad was a big Silverchair fan, and Led Zeppelin, and so there was a really great start for me to really sort of, yeah, hear some great music at a very young age. Like, I think I knew Sweet Child of Mine before friggin' Incy Wincy Spider. So anyway, so I probably started, like, I was really into music, and I was always drawn to really sad music for some reason. Like, I would always go straight to the ballads, sad stuff. Especially throughout school. I don't know, I went through a real gothic, well, maybe a little bit gothic. That was the thing.
Sure.
Oh man, if you weren't dyeing your hair black, it was like, that's just, you're not in. Like, so it was all a lot of punk and a lot of, like, you know, really angry sort of music. And that's what I started writing. Like, I was in a couple of bands, but I never used to sing at school. Because when I was at school, if you didn't sound like Mariah Carey, you wouldn't sing. Like, it's just like, oh, you're not gifted. Like, you weren't given a voice, so it's like, it's okay. So I was like, maybe I could play guitar. Like, I still love music, and I used to have a real addiction with writing. Like, I remember, like, I'd go to bed. Like, I used to live in my room. My parents used to call it the Bat Cave, and I would be in the Bat Cave, like, playing guitar, listening to music for hours. Like, they'd come in and check to see if I was breathing. And I used to have such an addiction with writing just words and poems, I guess, like, because they weren't actually songs just yet. But yeah, I used to write all the time at night, and then got better and better at guitar because that's all I did. Like, as soon as I got home, I'd play and try and learn songs that I liked and whatever. And then we started a band, and I still was all up in my head, like, I'm not a singer, like, I don't sing. So I was writing a lot for the band, and one day I was trying to explain a melody to one of the girls in the band, and she was like, and I ended up singing it, and she was like, hey, you don't suck, you should do it more. Like,
What a compliment.
yeah, you don't completely suck at singing. So yeah, and as bad as I was, like, I listened to some old stuff, and wow, it's hard to listen to that sort of stuff, you know, when you get a bit older and you mature. But yeah, so it did take me a while to really learn that it's okay to not sound amazing, and you can actually have your own voice.
Well, look, before we move on, I do want to touch on one thing quickly, which was said at the top of that, which you did have the goth stage. So I just want to get some specifics. What does that mean? Dyed hair.
Okay.
Obviously.
Yeah. So it was like Marilyn
Yeah.
Manson was a big deal
Okay.
when I was going through my stage. My stage.
That's also a very extreme level of goth as well. Like that's not just the pin piercing or anything
hectic.
like that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I went through all these phases. When I look at, I can tell because of my dress sense. Like in the photo album, I'm like, yep, still got the dyed black hair, you know, and just I was with a guy as well, and it didn't work out, and I was just so shattered for a long time. So there's many photos of me just looking ghostly pale, just from being heartbroken. And, you know, like that's just one of the things that happens, like, you know, in your life. And yeah, and then you can see through photos, you can see, oh yeah, coming out of it, getting a bit more of a tan again, and getting into the punk stage, and you know, always at the beach with friends, and then I sort of started getting into a lot more sort of indie stuff, like the Death Cabs and Tina Sarah and you know, Bright Eyes and things. Bands and artists that are really lyric heavy, because that's just what I loved.
Yeah.
Lyrics were my thing. Like I'd just listen and be like, that's like me. That's cool. That's hit me right here.
So even at that age, were you able to go like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I actually want to do as a career or for the rest of my life, or was it still a little bit abstract?
You know, I think everyone wanted to be a musician or an actor or an actress or whatever. And when you're that age, it's like you've got all this life, and it's like, yeah, I can do that. But it didn't really, like, I never went total gung-ho at it, and I don't think I ever believed that it would ever happen, that I'd do this for a living, like, ever, really. I was quite smart about it, really. Like, I wanted to make sure that I had things that, you know, I wasn't going to fall on my ass. So, you know, I got really interested in film, so I you know, taught myself, well, I did film and TV at school, and then went on and kept editing, and just kept that passion, and loved it, and still do. Like I do my music videos even today. So yeah, like I wasn't, you know, I didn't go out busking, and I just, you know, I don't want to say lucky, because I still worked my ass off, but I guess in a way, I had come to terms with the fact that, oh, I'm happy in my life, I like my job, I like cutting videos and putting visuals to music, and, you know, whatever I was doing. And then it's almost like the universe was like, you're actually just meant to be a songwriter, because I didn't do a door to get anywhere. Like I didn't write that song, and I didn't continue this to, like, I'd already shut down. So it was pretty cool how everything's happened, and now I'm a full-time musician. Do
you have any regrets? I know you obviously said there are some things you didn't necessarily like about it, but you look back mostly with a kind of fond memory. But do you wish there is anything you could sort of undo from that time?
I don't think so, because like even like the really, you know, guys that I dated, I still wouldn't be who I am today without these people that taught me like to be as strong as I am. If I had any advice, you just got to go through the crap, and you'll just be a good person, and you'll get somewhere special.
Fantastic. Amy, thanks so much for your time today.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Hey everyone. If you enjoyed that video, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, or find more of our stuff at studentedge.com.au.